But anyways, the whole social media shit, they're like shaming all the pros, like, be safer, do this and that. And I'm just sitting there like completely fine. Like shout out fucking camels, man, because this shit is the real vaccine out here.
You heard it here first, so everybody. Smoke cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes. It cures COVID. That's the real vaccination. I'm saying this as a medical expert. This is real medical advice. Smoke cigarettes. You will not get COVID.
Hey, Camel, reach out and sponsor CrimSix, all right?
You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
With that kind of social media training, though, was it was it just like the do's and don'ts, or were they giving you like specific situations and examples of like what not to do?
They'd give specifics of like tweets, because Twitter and Call of Duty is huge.
Yep.
Twitter and a lot of esports is huge, and they'd bring up tweets from like last year or the previous year of like players like saying like just crazy stuff, and all the time like all the pro players in the meeting and shit would just start dying laughing at whoever it was, and they'd pretty much say like what's wrong with this tweet, or what's wrong with this? And most everyone in the meeting will be like, well, they didn't bitch enough, and just stuff like that. And, but yeah, those meetings, usually I think I actually left that one early. I'm kind of notorious for like we had our player summit this year, that was online, and pretty much a 3-hour long meeting that overlays like everything going throughout the year. I pretty much just hit join, muted out, and I went to go. We have a pet snake, so I went and got some frozen rats from some reptile store to feed them. And and what I later found out was that I was a lot of those tweets, what not to do, here's a better version of it. And everyone's laughing, and everyone kept asking like Porter, any comments on this? And I'm just like, I wasn't even there, so.
You used the WWE reference kind of like earlier, like how you think it should kind of go.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of the world that you're in, they're trying to take more of the same approach that WWE did and kind of blew up in their face, where it's like the PG era almost? Yeah,
it's the problem is that there was a lot of money that came in and invested with like Call of Duty eSports. Pretty much they made it like very serious, or like a big deal. And I'm just sitting there like anyone growing up in like North America, especially as a male, like you probably played Call of Duty at some point.
Yeah.
You probably have played it for probably more than 3 years or so. And it's just like, to me, it's more of like, the people who play Call of Duty are a little bit different than the people who play, PC games. It's just a lot easier to buy a console, a lot easier to play. So you're going to get more of a not normal. Well, that's going to piss people off, but I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. Pretty much you're going to get more normal players, people who engage in Call of Duty. And like what happened with me, it happened with a lot of other players. Like I started playing Call of Duty more when I injured my arm in baseball. And I wanted something else to, be competitive in and just, get that urge out. And pretty much, that's how I went pro in Call of Duty. And the players who play it, especially pros nowadays, never really said like woke up when they were 5 years old, I want to be an esports pro player. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But the people who play Call of Duty are usually, everyone's trash talking, especially if they're from New Jersey or Philly or something like that. And, shitting on other people is just their source of entertainment. So that was a fucking weird one for me. But with all the money and all the sponsorships and all that BS, right? The sales pitch to all these deep pocket people was like, we're going to make this like the NFL of esports, right? But with Call of Duty, I'm sitting there like, you chose the wrong fucking game to do that.
Yeah.
Because this is not like this. The fans love it when you just trash talk other people. They love, like, people always talk about Call of Duty and they think about like rivalries and stuff. And right now, past 3 years or so, there hasn't, like, the rivalries are like borderline fucking made up. They're literally casters, like caster created rivalries, like news article like created rivalries, and there's very few like actual authentic ones. And I've been doing this for like 12, 13 years, so I've seen it when they were real. I've seen it when people hated each other, when like when people would beat people that they hated, that they would just be so happy but so like rage filled that they wouldn't know what the fuck to say. You ever seen someone like stumble on their words when they just like they have so many things to say to this person that they just beat that they don't know where the fuck to begin.
Yep.
And that's when you can tell, like, okay, that's real, you know. But
well, if you just think of when Call of Duty started to really not the esports world, I'm talking just like big as a game, you know. Think of like Modern Warfare 2 days, the lobbies and how we all grew up, like in high school, just shit talking.
Yeah, I call it the golden age of man. Man, like boys became men in Halo 2 lobbies, Halo 3 lobbies, Call of Duty 4 lobbies. That's where you're sitting there like, yo, like, this is intense. You know what I mean? Like, if I lose, I'm getting trash talked by 6 people on the other team.
Well, Mitch, before you cut me off again, and I think this is the first words I'm saying in the entire fucking episode. Thank you, Mitch. 3 things. 1, I would like to welcome Ian Porter, aka CrimSix, to our episode before we go another 20 minutes without introducing our... Yeah, that's right. Look at the fucking floor, Mitch. I see you. Number 2, that whole thing about social media training in the 5-hour course. Ian, I'd like you to now talk about the people group you hate the most. For me, it's Italians. Go ahead.
Italians. That's actually, fuck. I would have answered like that too. And my wife's Italian, you know?
Yeah, right? Exactly. So you intimately know. You have firsthand experience with those fucking wop dago bastards.
You know what they say? You know what they say, man, that really ticks me off is they say that they get angrier faster than normal people.
They do, because they're not normal people.
I lived in Italy for a couple of years, and I can tell you that the finger thing is a very real thing when they're mad at you.
Yeah.
No, it's very offensive, and I don't like it. It makes me upset.
I would have to say, I just hate people who get offended easily, like quickly, right? Because
that is a good people group to hate.
Yeah, but yeah, those people, right? And I think this is a fucking new thing. You know, I'm 28 years old. I'm not fucking, 50 years, like 70 years old. So I can't see, like, if people got offended that quickly, fucking in 1950 or so, right? I don't know if this is a new thing. I'm going to assume that it's a new thing, but people just don't seem to understand, right? That sometimes what you need to hear is what you don't want to hear, And I think, man, it was like a movie or a fucking quote, or like, you get so much more from your enemies than you do from like people who are friends. Like, and it sucks, but that's the fucking truth.
Yeah, I think the story of when you told a whole crowd that they're a bunch of little rats. I think I think that really connected with them. And you said they started cheering because we all, not everybody, but a large majority of people that are in the space grew up in those Modern Warfare 2, Halo 2 shit talking days.
That's what I want to come back. Just the world has to be like a Modern Warfare 2 fucking lobby circa 2007. We just need to just go back to those times. Those are better times.
In Warzone, at least, people are using their mics like a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was like it was like at least a 5-year period where people just, party chat came out, or, Discord or fucking TeamSpeak. Like, people just stopped talking in game. And nowadays a lot more people are actually using their game chat mics. So I was actually excited when I realized that.
So I am kind of curious though, with that social media training, did they mention anything about kind of what you do outside of, your persona or what you do like online with video games? Like, did they say like, hey, like this is like a political, like don't talk about politically sensitive topics, or, and what I'm leading into is kind of like guns and how you kind of got into that. I'm curious if that was a part of it.
They actually didn't, because they want everyone to be, their own person. They want everyone to, because I mean, at that point, that's when you start getting into like, okay, and you can't think a certain way, and they actually didn't touch base on that often. Like if I put out like a political tweet, like I would never get fined for that.
Okay.
Now the only thing on that front is pretty much like you can't get certain sponsorships. So I could never get sponsored by, a firearm company. I couldn't get sponsored by, tobacco company. They just recently removed the gambling one. But yeah, there's like it's like auto companies, because those are the big ones. And I think the league is like saying you can't get sponsored by individuals, cannot get sponsored by like car manufacturers, all this shit, because the teams in the league want those, because those are the fucking huge money ones. But the others is like tobacco, firearms, sex, and medical stuff.
Firearms is on that list?
Yeah, so firearms is on that list.
Oh, that's fucking lame.
So you as a person, like, let's say because you're your own brand at this point, I think, obviously you are, you're signed as a team and you're part of this organization, but you yourself are, and could be your own thing.
Yeah.
You couldn't take any sponsorship from, let's say Daniel Defense was like, hey dude, we see you like shooting. Here's a rifle.
Loopholes.
Okay.
That's the thing. There's definitely loopholes. You can definitely get product. I think that they'll only intervene if you start getting paid for it.
Oh,
so, okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Get yourself those fucking Mark 18s, bud.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I've been doing with a lot of, firearm stuff that I actually do, is like, hey, like, post for, or this and that, right? For product. Like, I can't sign a contract with you guys. I can't get you. You guys cannot pay me in any sort of way. And they hear that shit, right? They're like, oh, get them going, make some warm inside type shit. Because that's what they want to avoid. They're like, because all sponsors nowadays, man, they want to give you product, but they never really want to pay you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a pity, because the next thing I was going to ask is if I could pay you $420.69 to wear our Ted Kaczynski t-shirts that I just dropped.
I actually, Coleon Noir.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I literally.
Sorry, I just saw Mitch's face.
What is there a backstory on this or something?
We'll talk about it off the air.
Off there, yeah.
Okay, off the air. Okay, but yeah, no, I literally he sent me a whole bunch of shirts, and I wear his shirts under my jersey just because they're pretty much comfortable. On those game days, you want to wear whatever is comfortable as possible, and I'll literally wear his shit under my jerseys. And there's been plenty of times where like the official league, right, will record shit, because they always have cameramen on you and all this stuff. And the people love the boating accident shirt. and that shit would appear on their official like video, their like promo, the official COD League's like promo videos and shit. So
yeah, so that kind of leads into exactly why I find you not just so interesting, not only as, as a fan of people as someone that watches somebody play Call of Duty, but just as a person in general, because you're kind of in the gun world, whether you intentionally try or not, and you're also in the Call of Duty world. Yeah. And those two things over time have collided often, but never as like publicly and officially, we've never had like somebody that is like a part of both. It's always been Modern Warfare or Call of Duty or video games in general has gotten me kind of into guns and interested in it. So when did you, like, were you always kind of into guns as a kid, or how did that kind of happen?
Me and my dad and my brother I grew up in Washington.
Okay.
In the like somewhat in Seattle area. So we'd go shooting a little bit, but not a lot. Back then, I mean, I grew up like my dad, you know, being like, we're living in Seattle, right? So we're anyone from Washington, the state of Washington, is automatically fucking weird. Like some are in a good way, some are in a bad way.
Mike.
No, I mean, like the thing is, he's a good weird, you know what I mean? But there's not, and he'll probably fucking agree with me on that one. Like, I have not met someone from Washington who is boring, like just flat out boring. Like they're quirky or they're you know, something's going on. But anyways, like I grew up like watching the History Channel, Military Channel. I'd fucking go paintballing stuff with buddies dressed in, you know, ghillie suits and shit like that. Like I did a lot of paintballing growing up, but in terms of like just shooting, we shot my dad's like 22 all the time. And then I moved out to Chicago, and that was when I started like sort of actually wanting, you know, firearms and stuff. And I was in a frat gaming house, and pretty much they're like, no, this is not happening. So right when I moved out, got my own shit. So that's where it started.
Well, you moved to Chicago and you expected to be able to get into gun stuff.
Well, you know it's crazy. Well, no. The thing in Illinois though is that it's just the Cook County, aka Crook County, where I call it the fucking speeding tickets. Fuck those guys. Yeah, it's like, I remember the gun shop I went to was like 600 feet over the county line. Right, I walk in and I'm like, holy shit. This has got every gun I've ever even known existed. This has got every single gun I've ever used in a video game, literally. And like I walked in, I see a fucking M249 saw immediately, Barrett 50 right next to it, and then like, you know, it like I saw like 30 AKs on the wall, and I was just sitting there like, holy, like I can get whatever I want here, and it was all just because it was just slightly over the county line.
It's like walking into a fucking candy shop the first time. I mean, every time after that, it's still just as heartwarming for me when I walk in and I see something and I'm like, man, that's fucking it right there. That's what's gonna.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was weird because it was like, I knew from like playing, you know, I was already, I placed pro when I was 13. Or maybe I was 11. I don't know. It was fucking way back, like 2008. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've been playing FPS games before then, and I'm still playing them now, right? So the first time I walked into that giant gun shop, I was like, holy shit, this is what they actually look like. Like, I'd never seen any of these guns in person, like from a video game. So it was cool and it was interesting to see. And I just remember the first time I went in there, I was just looking around for like at least an hour, you know? Just, hey, can I see that? Hey, can I see that? No, I'm not going to buy anything. The guys fucking hated me for sure. Just I wanted to get my hands on everything, but didn't want to buy any of them. And went back about a month or two later after going to Vegas, shooting a full auto SCAR, the 17. And I bought first firearm that I bought was the SCAR 17.
That's such a big dick fucking purchase too.
It is. Oh my God, that's such a big dick purchase. Look, I want a SCAR. I want to.
Well, the thing is in Call of Duty and video games, like I'm successful at it, man. Like we get paid a lot more than I think we're probably. Well, it's debatable, but we probably get paid more than we're worth. At least some players do. I think I'd probably get paid less than what I'm worth, but. Yeah, just a whole bunch of money floating around. Like, and the thing is, I play video games 8 to 10 hours a day in the middle of the season. But when I'm not in the middle of the season, like, you know, I'm doing other shit. I'm doing my hobbies.
Hey guys, it's Nathan again, the penal colony leper half of Sea Bernard. Just come to talk to you about our newest sponsor, Midwest Armor. Midwest Armor supplied us with a couple of plate carriers, the Leap plate carrier, kind of reminiscent of the 6094 LBD carrier or the Cry GPC. They're pretty cool, and I gotta say I'm really enjoying mine, and gotta give my tacit recommendation as a decent plate carrier that can actually hold things and do what you need it to. It holds its own. Anyways, Midwest Armor, they've got plate carriers including some slick variants and some more overt stuff. They've got armor too. Check them out. Anyways, again, February 5th, I'm once again asking people near Colorado Springs, come out and help us at Turkey Track. Come out, we're going to be giving some stuff away. Midwest Armor and a whole bunch of other guys have sent us some pretty cool stuff to give to anyone who wants to help us help clean up the range. Let us know if you're able. Come on out and help us do a nice thing. Anyways, back to the show.
How's it going, lads and ladies? I'm BR, producer of the Art and War podcast, and I'm here to tell you about our Patreon. Not only do we want to continue improving the quality of what we can do all over for you, our wonderful listeners, but as a team, we're looking at expanding what we can do in terms of content tenfold. So far, our Patreon supporters have helped Nathan grab new equipment to keep him illustrating, and we're working on getting in new kit in the near future so that video content can be a more regular feature of ours. If you like the direction we're taking this thing in, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. But what's in it for you? Our Patreon subscribers enjoy 5 different tiers of exclusive perks, ranging from all the content the lads would post on a pre-Zuckerberg Instagram, downloadable high-resolution guides, and high-resolution targets illustrated by Nathan that you can take down to your local print shop and have printed up, behind-the-scenes info like guest schedules, spicy memes, and at our highest tier, get monthly art commissions created by Nathan himself. You can find our Patreon via the link in this episode's description, or in the Seaburn art page's bio on Instagram. Thanks for listening, people. Now let's get back to the show.
So. Man, I want your thoughts. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What I'm going to talk about is going to get into a whole thing. I want to get into the fucking culture war, but maybe we save that for after what you're about to say, Mitch.
Well, I was going to ask, we kind of talked about it a couple weeks, maybe a couple months ago, where I asked you, I was like, hey, do you like ever play video games for enjoyment still? Because I feel like when what you do, you know, it's something that you have to enjoy, and it's something that you might have enjoyed doing since you were a kid. I mean, I still enjoy playing video games myself, but when it becomes your job and you're making a ton of money, does that make it more enjoyable, or does it add like a stress that kind of makes it not a hobby anymore?
I love competition. I was asked this question like a week ago. It was like, do you still play? So they're like, Porter, you've been pro for like 10, 12 years, right? He's like, do you remember when we used to have fun playing Call of Duty? And I was like, fuck, man, it's been a minute. It has been a while, because the Call of Duty games as of late, I've just like, besides Warzone, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like nothing's new. It's just blatant reskins, and pretty much like all the pros that have been doing this shit for a while have gotten to the point where like, okay, we need to trick our minds to tell our minds that we like doing this. We like this game.
You know, that's sad.
Yeah. No, it's that bad. But
I don't
it's
like that at all, Chief.
Yeah, no, you literally have to trick your mind to liking the game, right? So then usually when you like shit, you're better at it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And
you like what you do, you won't work a day in your life.
Yeah. And it's like that's pretty much the longevity trick to shit, probably anything in life, but in my case, you know, Call of Duty. So Warzone is a completely different story. I actually have a blast playing Warzone. Huge step in the right direction, in my opinion.
Do you like Caldera?
Oh, fuck no. That map was actually designed by literal fucking apes. And I'm not talking Planet of the Apes. I'm talking Neutrogena test subject apes. Dude, like it's fucking bad.
Fucking tell it how it is.
Dude. Well, here's my rant on the map, right? So it's an island, right? A volcano in the center. Geographically, that makes sense, right? That's realistic, whatever, right? But I'm sitting there and fucking seeing green gas come in from the sea, right? So why are you putting the best parts of the map near the fucking sea?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's equivalent. What they've done with like Capital, like how many times have you guys fought in Capital? Like hardly ever.
Yeah.
And Capital is probably actually played the new map.
You probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I got like 70 fucking days played in Warzone.
Yeah, it's equivalent to putting like Superstore where salt mines are on Verdansk. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to, it's like the engagement rate at that area of the map is going to be instantly lower just because the gas comes in from the outside. Like it's so fucking stupid to me. Like,
yeah, it pisses me off because I loved Verdansk, but it needed to go. But what they chose to do, I feel like they made all of the wrong choices. Like they could have picture they did like fucking Berlin, like a city, and then there were some outskirts with like some jungle. They made the whole map like green jungle and a giant fucking mountain, so you're fighting uphill all the time.
Yeah, and the problem is the little, you know, you're super soldiers and shit, but you can't mantle mountains at all. Mountains are the worst, like hills, ledges, fucking invisible rocks. Man, it's the worst. It is the biggest problem in terms of movement, like player movement in Call of Duty, like fucking ever. It's just, it doesn't go well.
I'm curious if you have insight to this because me and my friends talk about it a lot in our group chat. We just kind of stopped playing Warzone, which is tragic because we've devoted, especially during COVID and quarantine.
Oh my God. And you're actually good at it. I'm terrible at Warzone. You carried my ass for a while.
I loved it. And me and my friends loved it. And we were talking about it very recently. I don't think they put in as much time and effort into making this map as we think they did, because it came out like if they would have tested the game for 5 or 10 fucking minutes, they would have seen how fucking broken it is. Like I still get invisible guns. I freeze on loadouts and I'm like, this is shit that we solved in Verdansk like a year and a half ago.
Well, there's some truth to this too. My theory is that they didn't play test it. And you think back about Activision, like there's like two years ago where like the play testers, the QA testers went on strike, right? And they came back and, you know, probably nothing was fixed, right? And people don't really remember that because of all this sexual like allegations going on with Activision, right? So the QA testers were literally swept so far under the rug that I think they all collectively said, fuck this, like let's just band together and pretend to do our job for this year, right? Still get paid for it and do absolutely fucking nothing. And I'm like 99% sure that is what happened because of how many things are fucked up. Like there's so many things that are wrong. Like we had to make a bug list. Each team had to take like a list of things that needed to be fixed, changed, yada yada, right, to the league. And dude, it was like 27 different things.
Jesus Christ.
Like major things too. And apparently I was talking about this theory on my stream. Someone's like, yo, they fired the QA testers 2 weeks before launch. They fired every single fucking employee that QA tested it. And I'm just sitting there like, fuck, this confirms my theory. Like, I wonder if like one of the, you know, a higher up or a dev or Activision, like imagine like you're a developer, you know, taking it to your publisher and being like, all right, here's the final product, and just fucking bugs left, right, and center in it.
It's unplayable for me. Like it's not like the map sucks as it is, but I could get over the map and still like have fun. But like when my gun is invisible for the first like 20 minutes of the game.
Dude, have you seen the invisible characters?
Where there's like a glitch where you.
I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to play it.
It's unenjoyable.
It's the invisible character is sickening.
Yeah,
sickening because it costs money so it's tier 100 on the battle pass. So if you were to buy your way to that battle pass, I think it's like, or that tier, it's like $140, right? And it's the final unlock. And they have had the invisible character in Caldera since day one. They have not patched it.
So what is it?
It's literally just a skin that you're invisible at anything over 50 meters or 30 meters. So it's like
had sorry to interrupt. I've had this dumb kind of not even conspiracy theory, not even sorry BR, I'm going to go down on one of my friggin' retarded rants now. But this time it's about Call of Duty. I honestly think that they purposely have every season, every time something new and big comes out, they purposely leave one of the game-breaking bugs in for so people pay to win. It's like you have to get the battle.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Like that's what people are finally starting to realize.
Yeah.
But dude, But like the fact that this Invis character has been in, when did Caldera drop? December 6th, right?
Yeah. After being delayed for a couple weeks.
January 4th. Yeah, it's been a fucking month.
Yeah.
And they have not patched this character.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, think about that.
Yeah. Remember when the VSS Ventores, I don't know what it was called in the game, that gun came out and you could just murk dudes through 8 walls?
Yeah.
Every season there's something like that. Every season there's a super broken gun. It's a new meta. They don't patch it until the next one rolls around.
Well, you know it's funny?
Yeah.
Right? Is that things that cost money, they don't patch it right away.
They don't.
Just think about Stim Glitch. The first time it came out, or the first time the Stim Glitch came out, people realized okay, they needed to fix it, right? So, gave them 4 or 5 days, maybe it was a week, right? And then they removed it or patched it, whatever. But it happened 3 or 4 more times, right? And they just fucking, whenever it was broken, they would just pull it. They would just remove it. You couldn't use it until they fixed it. But they don't do the same thing about things that cost money. And it's so fucking obvious that they're not here to produce a good game.
No,
they're here to produce a fucking no, exactly. And you saw my tweet. Did you see my tweet about that?
That shit. You cannot pay me to use Twitter. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I'll link you the tweet. I'll link you the tweet. That shit. Well, pretty much what I said was Call of Duty just blatantly reskins the platform to sell the products in the platform.
Yeah.
They don't, we're playing the same shit every single year. And they're just basically, the publishers coming down on the developer's head saying, hey, I guess the developer would go to the publisher saying, hey, I want to make good maps. They're like, no, I want you to make more skins that fucking glow blue, orange, green, whatever the color anyone wants. And the developer just has to go, okay, sure.
And do they care when you tweet that shit? Does that go against your social media training? If you're
that heavily goes against it.
Well, you know what? Fuck.
I should have even just talking like this, how I just did in the last 10 minutes, heavily goes against it as well. But
do you want us to take it out?
No, absolutely not. Because here's the thing, right? They can't find me on shit that is true. I've yet to be fined on anything that is fucking true. Because basically the process is you get fined, then you can schedule a hearing, appeal, whatever the fuck, right? And then you just go in there and say, was I wrong? Am I wrong here? And then they're just speechless.
Yeah.
Who's on these hearings? Is it developers or is it a league committee?
No. It's league staff.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been playing 12 years. I've been in a development studio twice, and I've never actually spoken to anyone who's ever designed a map within any Call of Duty in the last 12 years.
You would think they would want to speak, especially to, the content creators, the pro players, because those are the people that play the game all the time. They play it well. And you would think that, hey, we should talk to these people that legitimately play the game more than we would ever test the game and see how we can make it better. But like you kind of said, I don't think they really give a fuck. I think it comes down to the money to them with the skins and this attachment for this gun that you unlock in the battle pass at level whatever the fuck is completely fucking broken, but we're not going to patch that until after everybody buys it to get it.
Well, the problem, it's a double-edged sword, man, because on their end, right? And I'm going to have to agree with, anti-player right here, right? All the pro players are idiots, but they're not stupid. You know what I mean? Vice versa. They're all the pro players are fucking stupid, but they're not idiots. And the thing is a lot of the pros, man, I wouldn't, if I was a map designer, I probably wouldn't listen to 75% of them, because a lot of the pro players now, man, I'm talking, they take 40 steps a day type shit. And they don't have, I don't know, like an understanding of any other game except Call of Duty. They, rarely go outside. They a lot of them haven't even fucking passed college or not college, high school. A lot of them, like half of them might be fucking homeschooled by parents who don't give a fuck, for all I know, with how dumb some of these players are. Right. It's a different world to me because, I grew up in a household where if I didn't have above a 3.8 in high school, like my parents would pull the power cord, take that shit and hide it. And like, I went to college at University of Washington too. And it's a different breed of just human beings that the pro players are right now. And I don't blame the devs for not listening to these players because at the end of the day, like, it's a weird one, man. It's a weird one because a lot of the pros too, like the shit that they like, 90% of the, casual fan base will hate.
Yeah. And I think it's something that isn't just in, the Call of Duty or video game community. I think in general, when it comes to getting honest feedback from, be it an influencer or reviewer, what ends up happening often is they're going to tell you what you want to hear because they want more free shit and they want, more good favor. And yeah. I just left my job at Mirror Safety, but when I worked for them, like getting honest feedback about new products when we'd send it out, it would always be, oh, this is great. This is awesome. You don't need to do anything with it. And I know that's bullshit because I would get some of the betas of the products and I'm like, no, we need to fix some of these things. And it's always just like, instead of getting that honest feedback, you're getting what you want to hear. So you send them more shit, and the more shit you send them, the more established and considered to be professional they look. And it's difficult to get that honest feedback. And I imagine that is very true in the Call of Duty world as well. Yeah.
It's, well, the hard part is that there's usually a middleman in all this stuff. Right. And, when we're giving feedback, it's usually we're not giving this feedback and then making a profit off of it like you would be doing on like social, like putting that feedback on social media or like, making a video about it. So it's different in that regard. But the problem is that the people like who design the maps and games and stuff, that is their fucking like child to them. Like one map designer might make 1 or 2 maps, spend 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years on 1 to 2 maps. And then you got some asshole that just, quit Domino's, right? To become a Call of Duty pro player saying your map is fucking garbage. You're horrible. Like they should fire you type shit. So it's like, that's where the devs like don't listen. And I don't really blame them for not listening, but yeah, when they use the Far Cry 3 map creator, the Forge mode in Far Cry 3 to create maps, that's when I'm like, okay, you know what, Domino's old ex-employee, you're kind of right here. Like, fuck these guys. Like, that's when I start getting pissed. You know what I mean? When I just see like, shit, got to climb up a peak on Caldera, zone's closing in, and then you get stuck on rocks, you die to the gas. Like, that's when I'm just like, okay, like this sucks.
I got one more bitch about Warzone, and then we can talk about stuff.
I feel like all the people that listen to this, the probably vast majority if they don't like Call of Duty, play Warzone, are just like, what the fuck are these fucking nerds on about?
If they don't play, maybe you should edit this and put the gun segment before this segment. So then, because right now, if they've never touched a controller, they've already exited out. They're not even here anymore.
Yeah, they'll be all right. My one last bitch about Warzone, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. The gas mask animation thing. Make it manual. Make me take damage for not putting it on, but let me put it on when I want. Because when I'm shooting somebody in the gas, and it fucking annoys me when my guy just like starts like spraying like fucking hip fire because he's putting his mask on or taking it off. It pisses me the fuck off.
But think about how long that would extend your life in gas.
Yeah, look, let me just
definitely can't do manual. Yeah. No. Well, you couldn't do manual. You could do automatic. So there's absolutely no animation. That's what they should do. Right. Because if you make it manual, I could run into the zone, wait till my health is at its absolute lowest point, put on the gas mask, then plate up, right? Heal up, and then wait for my gas mask to die, and then burn through my health again. That's the problem with manual. You get what I mean?
Yeah. So you would just make it just automatic. So there's no animation. It just kind of goes on your face.
If you did manual, you would you'd be able to stay in the gas 150% longer, at least, compared to what you can right now.
Well, see, this is why I'm talking to the pro player that can give me that insight.
you would almost not double, but right now you can stay in it for what? A full gas mask, full plates and health, right? But if you did it manual, then you would stay in the zone for 2 full health and 2 full plates.
In so long, but what are the plates like now? Did they change the animation? There weren't exactly sappy plates rolling around in World War II. But
yeah, no, they still got those apparently, or they had them back then. Yeah, I don't know where they found them. I don't know where they found some of this other shit too.
Yeah, it's weird.
Fuck is a mercury silencer.
Yeah,
how's that? How'd they make that one, guys? How's that fucking work?
When I was watching, I think it was a trailer, and I saw a yellow dot on an old MP40. I was saying, I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, all the red dots are yellow this year. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
they're all yellow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some historical accuracy to that I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But looking at it. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's Call of Duty. It's not going to be completely realistic all the time. Yeah. And I'm not really expecting it to be, because if it was realistic, I don't know if Call of Duty is the game that I'd want to play for realism. I need some aspects to be real.
Oh, hell no.
But,
hell no.
Yeah. There needs
this game,
to be that
man, I don't know. I don't even want to get into that, because I'll be here for a minute. I'll be here for a little bit too long. So.
Have you gotten any kickback or any kind of negative press since you started posting a little bit more about you doing gun stuff in your personal life, or has it been mostly a positive experience?
It's been incredibly positive, I'd say. Maybe just a comment here and there, Other than that, I was incredibly worried about, when I went out and shot with Lucas and stuff, and it was just, to hang out, pretty much just post some videos here and there. It wasn't a major video that he would put on his channel and stuff. And, but pretty much, I was worried shitless about ending up on CNN or some major news network of the headline being video game player shoots what he shoots in a video game, but in real life, and it sucks, because I would say both the, gun culture, the gun community, as well as FPS video games, they're both targeted. They both piss people off, obviously in different ways, but they're both, they're both just targeted.
Yeah. And with that too, internally, there's subsectors, I feel, and it gets very clicky. And have you, within the gun community itself, I feel like people might come at you and be like, oh, a Call of Duty, fucking LARPer. That happens with everyone. Fucking Lucas Bakken gets called a LARPer.
Yeah. Well, I always say it as a joke.
Yeah.
What I've learned in, hold on a sec. What I've learned throughout the years, especially dealing with people who just, roast people for fun, and that's their entertainment for the day, is that being able to embrace their roast or turn it into a joke, right, is the best way to come, it's the best comeback you can make.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I find that's something that's true on kind of every side. You can't cancel someone who was never on your side to begin with. If you can take a joke, if you can make fun of yourself, people won't make fun of you because you don't care. You're not going to give them a reaction.
Well,
if you already call yourself a LARPer, people won't call you a LARPer.
Well, it's like, imagine, a community trying to cancel someone, right? And the person comes back to them and says, like, do it. I deserve to be canceled. Like, that's immediately, people are going to immediately be like, okay, fuck this. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's going to it's going to draw them away from whatever the fuck they're trying to do, because they're sitting there thinking like, this guy doesn't care. Like, if I put in all this time and effort to try to ruin this guy's life, like, he doesn't even care. Like, he's sitting there like fucking do it, please.
Yeah, there was, I asked about it because when we posted the gun culture kind of perspective from our side and we included you in it, we got a message from that slide that you were on. And they're like, I see 3 people that have actually contributed and 1 fucking LARPer who hasn't done shit. And I'm like, I think the complete opposite. I think video games and people involved in video games have really evolved the culture in the best way possible.
We could get back to even our episode with Mike, or the first one. He's talking about how he did an event with Demolition Ranch, and Kentucky Ballistics, and he's there, and his average viewer is a little older, and Kentucky Ballistics and Demolition Ranch are there with like 5 to 10-year-olds. And it's thinking about it like that. You're bringing in people who otherwise wouldn't be into it. Yeah. Like, anyone can preach to their own choir. Like Mitch and I, most of the people we deal with already like guns. They're already converts. You're bringing in a whole bunch of people who like, they've never even thought about buying a weapon. Yeah.
Well, what's crazy, man, is like the whole night vision story that sort of happened to me. Pretty much it was like the Call of Duty Champs 2020. So basically like the World Series, the Super Bowl of the year. And we had just beaten the team to go into the grand finals. So we're in the grand finals. We play it the next day. And the difference in prize is like 300,000 each, or like 125,000.
God damn.
And I was so confident that we were going to win that I texted Lucas. I was like, yo, give me, like, I've been thinking about it for a while. Like, and I hadn't even like met him yet. And I was like, yo, give me the best night vision that I can get that aren't the quads, And so he hooked it up with pretty much, I got some PVS 31s. And, I like, this is right after, this is like a month or 2 after he put out the night, like how night vision actually works. Right. And I already had like, 5 or 6 guns. No, it was probably like, 7, 8. Right. And I was sitting there like, night vision's always been cool to me. It's all like some Hollywood type shit. Right. And I've never truly understood how night vision actually works and what the eye can see and what the eye cannot see. Right. But my whole point of this whole story is that people were caught up on the price tag of like, now the entire fucking Call of Duty community knows and understands how much night vision is. Like, they're like, and now the whole entire Call of Duty community, because I'm always like talking about it and shit, they probably know how night vision works now as well. They understand that, like, hey, I can't see this shit, and hey, if I put these night vision goggles on, I can see infrared light, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if I wasn't there in that space that would have usually nothing to do with guns, right? They now understand how night vision works. Yeah. And I think those are the most impactful, like, influencers you can probably have for like a cause, a topic, whatever the hell, you guys, or whatever people want to be persuaded on, is people from different communities.
Yeah. And just, night vision is something that has become more popular, I'd say, in the last 2 years, which is really cool to hear, and really cool to see. And it's like you just explained, it's not just people that are into guns now. It is the Call of Duty community that probably knows how night vision works because people like you are talking about it. Yeah. And you're getting it, and you're using it, and you're posting pictures or videos, every so often. And it's great because what that does, you're taking all of these people who play video games, or maybe they're into guns, maybe they're not, and you're introducing them and being like, hey, I have these cool things. These things are really cool. I enjoy them. I learned about them. And that in and of itself is doing so much for how guns are viewed, and just how, because they're supposed to be fun, and Call of Duty is fun, and guns are supposed to be fun. There's a very serious aspect to them, but even now going to the range, if I'm doing, training, be it for my job or if I'm just doing it, going out and shooting, I always have so much fucking fun. And if I wasn't having fun with guns, I don't know if I would own them as much, because they're
exactly.
It's like I don't spend as much money or like do all this stuff just because, end of the world. Oh, what happens if, SHTF? It's like, no, it's fucking fun. It's fucking fun. There's other aspects too, but I just really like shooting.
You know what I don't see the gun community talk about a lot, and I'm sitting here like, for me, I play video games, I shoot guns. Like I have a profession, and then I have like two main hobbies, like shooting guns, like driving cars, right? That's what I like to do. And dude, I think a lot of people like guns, right? It's like there's no limit on the skill or the potential, or it's like a limitless hobby that someone can do. And the feeling of like improvement, the feeling of like getting better at something, like that is like so fucking addicting.
Yep.
And I think that is a main reason. Jesus, I think that's a main reason why a lot of people get into firearms and training and all this stuff is because, like, dude, there's no limit to how good you can get. And I like, if there is a top limit, right? If there's like, say you take the best shooter in the world or whatever, right? And you ask them like, are you at the top? And they'll probably be like, no, there's so much more I can do.
Yeah.
And that to me is where a lot of the fun and a lot of the, like, you get some people like you have 40 firearms or whatever, right? Or you shoot like 100,000 rounds a year. People, like anyone else that's not in the space, will be like, why do you do that? And that's usually the answer is usually like something related to that. Like it's addicting to get better at something.
Yeah. And for me, I almost compete with myself. I'm competitive with other people, but you're your own biggest competitor. And when you improve, like how far you can hit a target consistently, you know, it's like people that are addicted to, working out and bench pressing. It's like PRs.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly addicting. And when you can compete with yourself in a healthy way, with a healthy habit that can have more of an impact on, how you live or, potentially down the road, God forbid anything terrible happens where you have to use any of these skills, which I don't think anybody should be hoping they have to use, like some kids do.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly useful skill to have.
Go ahead. God, Mitch, friggin'. Oh, fuck. I lost my train of thought. I had something. I had something.
Well, with making firearms fun, what you were just doing, you're holding a dildo launcher.
Yes, I was just holding a dildo launcher on camera. It's 40 millimeter 203 that has been modified to huck this 40 millimeter dildo. Oh, I love this thing.
Who are we going to shoot with that again?
I bet
we were going to shoot Osama bin Laden.
Oh yeah. So just with making it fun, we made Osama bin Laden accept the soy version, and we're going to make a
jack.
video
It's a downloadable target now, and we're going to go take this underslung, strap it to. I want to strap to like a Vietnam era M16 or something, and just shoot dildos through pictures of Osama bin Laden, and it's kind of okay. I remember what my point was, and I think it gets back into that like making things fun thing. Probably the biggest. I hate to use the word recruiting tool, but the biggest recruiting tool. Fuck it. That I've had to get my friends into tactical shooting, and everyone's getting high speed guns and, the red dots and the lights and gamifying it and turning it into basically real life Call of Duty is a shot timer. The second that I had a way to measure people's metrics, suddenly everyone's super into it. Everyone's, oh, it's my turn. Oh yeah, let's set up this drill. Oh, I have an idea. And suddenly, all the people who just had, the Mossberg 500 with a 30-inch barrel, suddenly they're buying fucking 5.56 semi-autos. Suddenly people are buying nods. People are buying the cool stuff because it is so addicting. And once you have that way to measure your metric and gamify it and turn into fun, friendly competition with your friends, then it gets people hooked. And on that note, Ian, a friend of mine who he sent me a message and asked if I could pass it on to you. Seth will always fuck your ass 1v1. CrimSix, more like sucks dicks. After that, please tell him I'm actually a big fan and you are easily one of the best COD players to ever live.
Yeah, nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, he's actually he loves you. I think he just wanted me to say that.
Oh my God.
It's on air forever.
Jesus, I got now that I will have no comment for, because that right there is confusing, because I don't know if he does like me at this point. You know what I mean? It's kind of.
I think your friends always shit talk you. It's the people who are too nice you have to worry about.
Yes, this is true.
Yes.
What do you think for you was one of the bigger hurdles getting into guns? Were you afraid? Were you afraid of anything, or was it more just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to get into this? And because it can be very toxic and people can judge you if you're fucking not in perfect form, if you're not doing this. Did any of that concern you, or did you just not give a fuck and you got into it?
I didn't really give a fuck if anyone was critiquing me, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I sit on my ass for, fucking 4 to 10 hours a day. And let me ask you guys this. Well, anyone who knows about esports, I can't think of a jacked or like some sort of ripped pro gamer. They just don't fucking exist. And if they do exist, they don't last for long. And it's really weird there in gaming, right? There's just a lot of, scrawny dudes, or there's a lot of like skinny fat dudes who look normal, but in reality, they have no fucking muscle mass whatsoever. So in terms of like critique and like all this stuff, I'm like sitting there like, man, I'm doing this for me. Like, this is not to impress. This is not for me to show you how good I am at something. Like, this is just me having fun, or me, trying to improve on myself. That's it.
Well, you mentioned you have a trainer and everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last year, I let's just say I discovered those little fucking frozen icy cups. Oh man, those are different. But I'm actively trying to work on it, especially because right in the off season, man, the thing is like it's not so much time. Time isn't the factor. It's in the middle of the season, we get tested for COVID about, say there's a 3-day event. We get tested about 5 times.
God damn.
Like I'm talking like PCR test on, PCR test on Saturday, fly out Tuesday, media days Wednesday, you take a PCR. Then you literally have to, or not a PCR, you have to take a rapid test before you go into the venue every single day.
That's so fucking lame.
And listen to this shit. So if you test positive, right, even if you're fucking fully vaxxed, right, even if you've had a booster shot times fucking 4, right? You've had 4 booster shots, whatever, right? It doesn't matter how vaccinated you are. If you test positive, you get automatically DQ'd. Like, you cannot play. So imagine last year, right? Well, like every single event was $500,000.
Yeah.
Every single event was $50,000 each for first place. The final one was, $300,000 for first place. So it's like, imagine taking the risk to go to the gym to potentially get COVID. Just that like
it encourages
you can't work out. Yeah, you can't fucking work out. And I'm sitting here, man, like think about that, right? So that's 2 years straight where like 6 to 8 months out of the year, I can't really work out at, publicly. I'd have to do it like at my house or like while I'm, around the house. And it's fucking terrifying. And then, there's people like, oh, you got to be faster on your reloads, man. I'm sitting there like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, get a fucking job, dude. Like, yeah, it's like, I'm sitting there like, dude, like, it's just like, I don't care because
you're part of an organization that not only is, I'm assuming that's your livelihood. I'm going to assume that you don't do like another, like that is what you do. And it's a fuck ton of money. And it's encouraging you to not do shit except for that. Like if you go in public and risk it, like that's not, I mean, I'm not fucking risking going out. If I'm making or has a chance to make $500,000,
exactly.
Like, I'm staying home. I'm not going to go out and risk getting fucking DQ'd.
Well, think about how competitive, like I'm like ultra competitive too. Right. Mm-hmm. And the thought of, I just practiced my ass off for 8 months straight just for me to, get coughed on by the wrong guy, for it to just all be thrown down the drain. Like that scare, that thought, right?
Yeah.
Like if that was me and that guy gave me COVID, I'm just, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking fucking, I hope COVID kills me because that's how mentally depressed I am about that whole situation.
I'm kind of curious. Do you follow, are you into sports at all? Besides esports?
Random ones.
Okay. Did you see what happened with Aaron Rodgers with COVID?
No, but I think I heard about it because my teammate's a huge fucking Packers fan.
Okay. So long story short, regardless of politics with it, he was allergic to something within the vaccine, and he talked to doctors, and he's like, he figured out some other way to be defined as immunized according to the league protocol, but he still got sick, and it caused the whole and it caused the whole fucking shitstorm. But according to the league, he was still immunized. I was going to ask you, you see things like that happening, and I'm learning about the esports, kind of community just speaking with you. And I think it is absolutely intriguing. When something like that happens, it becomes so political, and it can almost,
oh my God,
it can fuck your career, regardless of where you stand or how you are. If you were to test positive and maybe not even make a statement, people are going to make assumptions, and it's going to fuck you.
Yeah, that's,
and
dude.
Then there's
all right, go ahead.
Fucking, what was it? It was OSHA or the CDC saying like, hey, you know what? If you test positive and you're asymptomatic after 5 days, you can just go back to work anyway.
Yeah.
I am fucking hoping, hands together, praying to the fucking Lord that we are just like,
what? Like the human, like we're all naturally becoming immune to it.
Yeah, it's going to go around, and I guess finally we're COVID posting because we haven't really talked about it much on this because we've kind of been avoiding it. But
really,
Mitch and I,
I'm more comfortable talking about COVID than I am talking about
COD.
No, not COD. I would say like to me, COVID is just fucking. It is hilarious because I'm sitting there, right? I'm doing my job as a human, as a citizen of society, and I'm sitting here just watching it get worse and worse. So I'm sitting there like, motherfuckers, I've been in jail within my house for 2 fucking years, not out of my own choice, but because of my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, man, like people want to debate this and that. I'm just sitting there like, dude, y'all are pissing me the fuck off. And I live in Texas too, like near downtown Dallas. Mm-hmm. COVID hasn't existed here for about a year. People do not wear masks. They don't give a shit. And you know what? I'm sitting there like, fuck, man. Like, I don't think COVID's ever going to go away. Like, I'm going to have to be getting fucking probed left and right at every single tournament. I'm at the point where I'm like, listen, assholes, you're going to have to fucking I don't care anymore. I'll fake the rapid test. Because, anyways, well, listen to this incident. What I was going to say. We had an after party after one of the events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everyone except for 3 people, and I was one of the 3, got sick.
Yeah.
And I got a fucking theory, guys.
Was it the fucking coof?
What's a coof? Is that COVID?
Yeah. It's
yeah. Everyone was sick, right? And we were making up theories. Like I was like, one guy, we called him Motor Mouth. His tag is fellow. Tyler, we're like, man, like the reason why you didn't get sick is because you talk so much that the person who is sick couldn't even open their fucking mouth, right? They couldn't transmit the virus because they never had a chance to fucking speak. But listen to this shit, right? The craziest thing was that us three, the whole entire night we're lost, we're all depressed and shit, and we were fucking chain smoking, like outside of this bar, this club. And I remember back someone telling me like, apparently cigarettes will kill the virus, and I'm sitting there like, well, fucking maybe, because we're the only ones who didn't. And there was like fully vaxxed people that got, like, there's probably 10 fully vaccinated people who got it. But anyways, the whole social media shit, they're like shaming all the pros, like, be safer, do this and that. And I'm just sitting there like completely fine. Like shout out fucking camels, man, because this shit is the real vaccine out here.
You heard it here first, so everybody. Smoke cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes. It cures COVID. That's the real vaccination. I'm saying this as a medical expert. This is real medical advice. Smoke cigarettes. You will not get COVID.
Hey, Camel, reach out and sponsor CrimSix, all right?
Camel, we are waiting for our sponsorship.
I can only receive product, though. So
just a fuck ton of cigarettes.
It's fuck ton.
The contract term it's not going to go in exponential time. That shit's going to be decreasing as the more product you send me. So
I'm kind of curious. I want to ask you about sponsorships because we're kind of going through something similar where we're just kind of figuring it out ourselves.
Yeah.
There have been contracts presented, and contracts make me uncomfortable as fuck. So all the sponsors that we've ever had have kind of been like a handshake and a phone call. And it's been a very much an honor system. For you with sponsors, is it done through the league or is it like done directly through you?
No, it's done. The league's usually not involved. Okay. The teams that I'm on are usually involved because if you get a conflicting sponsor, right? Then like with the team, for example. So, say like, so our team's sponsored by Game Fuel, which is an energy drink. And I can't get like Red Bull or Monster or someone else couldn't approach me with the sponsorship. Like, and the shitty part is like, in NFL, MLB, like all these other leagues, right? If that were to happen, the player could probably go to the team and said, hey, they just offered me $1 million. Like, you let me take it, even though it conflicts, or you pay me $1 million, and the team would have to pay the $1 million, right? But here in esports, where we get worked like French whores, respectfully speaking, but they would just fuck you over. Like, they'd be like, no, that's not happening. I've even had cases where, like, it happened in 2020, where I was offered a 6-figure individual sponsorship, right? And our team, it's like an org that owns another org, right? That has to report to the top organization, the top team. Anyways, I got offered a deal. The team approved it. The league approved it, right? And then my team was like, hey, wait, if you guys are approving this, why can't we get sponsored by this company? And then the league was like, okay, fine, you can do that. So then the team got sponsored by a conflicting sponsor, the individual deal. And basically I lost out on 6 figures.
That's shitty.
And they literally just used me as leverage. So
is there a
hopefully
way
I explained that clearly?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But what I'm curious about, is there any way that you can just be, you're a part of your team and that's how you're going to compete in the league. After that, is there a way for you to just become your own individual where you can do, I mean, you're your own individual, but I mean, like in terms of sponsors and deals where you can do whatever the fuck you want. And you
that's the fucking plan. I'm not like, I mean, you can get like that nowadays. There's some teams that are doing like we call them like entertainers, like full-time streamers and stuff. There's like normal sponsorships, or there's like you join the team, you join the org, right? You got to do this, and this, right? But then it's like sort of newly emerging where it's like you're literally it's a fucking billboard sponsor. That's what I've been calling it. Where it's like you just rep that you're on this team, but you don't actually have to do a fucking thing for them. And so obviously those are going to be worth a lot less in terms of like your actual, how much you're going to get paid, but you don't do a fucking thing. Like you literally
have control too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like those billboard sponsors, like you can get whatever sponsor you want. Like it doesn't matter. Like pretty much it's like, it's weird. It's like these esports teams are like acting as, you know, like say like T-Mobile or something like that, you know, like T-Mobile would show up on your stream and your whatever, you know, whatever the fuck it may be, but you don't actually do anything for T-Mobile, you know?
Yeah.
Like cell phone ones are a little bit weird because you can't really prove that you're using T-Mobile. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just literal like graphics, images, like, you know, you can't show them your T-Mobile fucking cellular account.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I do think that's interesting in kind of the professional world. In the gun world, it seems for us, I mean, our sponsors today are conflicting. They both make plate carriers, and I spoke with them on the phone about that. I'm like, hey, look, I don't know if you care or not, but I'm, you know, just to be transparent, we do have this other sponsor that has been with us since the beginning. They make plate carriers, and they're like, oh no, we're fine with that. We want
that's like, so awesome. Like that is fucking so refreshing to hear.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Yes, they're new. This is the first. Well, this is the first live ad read. We're gonna throw them into the episodes that are already recorded. But yeah, they were super cool about it, and they were like, yeah, we just want to be one of the names, and we're happy just to kind of be a part of it. And they're not like a company just starting out. They've been around for a long time, and it's funny how in the gun community it's less about the competition and more like they're just happy.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's.
I've noticed that in the gun community, it's like sponsors don't mind other sponsors not sponsors. I should say companies don't mind other companies making better product than them because it just like their viewpoint is so much fucking healthier and so much better as companies. Because it's like, okay, one product or one company made a good product better. It's better than ours. We need to make now a better one. Right.
Yep.
Like that's how I see it in the gun community. It's like, there's no fucking drama or bickering or like, there probably is. Right. But, like in esports and stuff and probably the rest of the fucking world, well, okay, let's get our lawyers. Let's sue the fuck out of them. Like, did they, did they do everything right? Did they file like trademarks or fucking patents? Like all this shit, man. And it's like, it's funny. You guys say like you laughed at the drama thing, but it's like, do they take that same route? Because that's how it's done in esports. In esports, there's fucking like the one word they love to use in esports is the word exclusive.
Oh,
and it fucking triggers the shit out of me. Like I've been I recently said, all right, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I can't lie to the fucking fans anymore. Like I've been using a different controller than the team. Like there's there's probably two main controller companies out there. Right. And one of them has made so much fucking money that they sponsor the league. They sponsor the team. And they try to sponsor they don't sponsor the fucking players. They just get them on the creator codes type shit, the affiliate codes. And in every single one of those contracts with the team in the league, they use the word exclusive. And the problem is with this. Yeah. And the problem with this is that I'm a player and I have to report to the team, you know? So I've been during those, fucking 5-6 years, right? I've been literally lying to people saying I used a Scuff controller, the company Scuff. I don't even give a shit because they did some sketchy shit on me. But I pretty much said like, yo, like when I signed team contracts now, I'm like, I don't care if you guys are sponsored by them. I've had legal issues with them and I'm not going to lie to the fans anymore. Like, I'm not going to tell them I use something that I don't.
It sounds... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say, it sounds like you really should convert and come over to the to the gun community side, because that shit doesn't fly. There's people will hold people accountable. And that's why we're very, very selective with our sponsors that we take, because people will often be like, hey, we'll pay you money to talk about us. And I'm like, I've never run any of your products. The
difference is in esports, we'll pay you money to silence you type shit. And that's the fucking I would say, by the way, this is a very, very extreme case. Like, it's usually not like this. I've just had a whole lot of issues because
it's your perspective.
I've been working with the other company buying their shit, right? And by the way, I have to buy all my controllers now, you know? And like, they don't hook me up with free shit because they're like, hey, we're not sponsoring your team. We just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what it comes down to is that a lot of the products in the firearm community is like the concept of like seriousness and like, this could mean the difference between life and death, like, is a huge contributing factor to all this. Like, if you make a fucking shit product and someone dies because of it, or someone gets like injured because of it, like, that is a huge fucking deal in the gun community. Like, if someone makes a shit controller, that doesn't mean like, there's no fucking consequence to that almost, other than a bad tweet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's the huge difference when it comes to the two communities. And go ahead.
I also think in the gun community, it is very driven towards one message, regardless of if you're a competing company. It is, we're just happy people have guns and it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And same with anything kind of like in the tactical industry, you know, everybody makes a belt, everybody makes a plate carrier. And it seems like everybody, at least people that we've talked to, even potential sponsors that we ended up saying no to, or, you know, the ones that we have said yes to, they are all fine with us talking about their competition as sponsors as well. And I think that's important, especially for us in our integrity, because once in the gun community, once that integrity is lost, nobody fucking trusts you ever again. Yeah. And I don't imagine it is as, you're not held to as accountable. The accountability isn't the same because, like you said, if you make a shitty product like an O-Light that literally fucking blows up or burns holes or starts fires, you know, that can hurt someone. It can cause somebody to get hurt. So the accountability is very different. And I do think it is unique and very good. But the double-edged sword to that is it creates a very, very toxic environment when it comes to two companies that both make good products and are competing, not from the companies themselves, from the people. You know, people will be like, oh, you don't run a fucking BCM upper? Oh, you run annual defense? Well, yeah, and it creates this weird like internal culture wars between people, and it's kind of fucking funny. Like the latest one is forward assists and micro rigs.
Yeah. And who cares?
Yeah,
who cares?
Yeah, that's what that is equivalent to getting roasted over wearing like a fucking Nike socks with Adidas shoes, you know?
Yep.
Like eventually, I feel like eventually that's probably going to pass. Like people won't really say any of that, but it's definitely the difference of like everyone has sort of the same cause of like, we're just happy to be able to own this stuff.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that we really haven't I haven't experienced that in esports and stuff. So I'm a little bit jealous of that.
It's very much like a hype beast culture sometimes. And that's everywhere. That's firearms. That's
the amount of times. Oh, is that the sand cutter, dude? You got the sand cutter BCG? Like fucking, Like, who cares, man? Like,
if it works, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. But sand cutters those are pretty cool.
I think it's so cool though that you're able to separate, your hobby of shooting guns and separate and integrate in very meaningful ways. You make it so it is a very enjoyable hobby, and you don't give a fuck what people have to say about it, because I don't know if you've ever scrolled through a Lucas Bakken fucking post and the comments.
Oh my God. It's so fucking toxic.
But here's the
I bet.
Here's a cool thing that I think about it. People are arguing over petty shit, which means there's no big shit to argue over, which you shouldn't argue over the petty shit, but at least there's no like huge fucking thing going on. And I think that is like we said before, because as much as, there is a little bit of infighting, the common goal is the same. We're just happy to see people getting into firearms and talk about them. And that's one thing that we did talk about with Mike a little bit too, when he had the Seattle Seahawks football players out at his range. We were talking how 10, 15 years ago, I'm sure he'd have you out too. But not a Mike. I'm the Seahawks player. Yeah, I think.
I'm just kidding. I watch your videos all the time, every single one of them.
I don't even watch them. I tell them that. I don't.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true though, man. This is crazy what I'm about to say. So when new Call of Duties would come out, right, or we'd have a tournament, if there was like a shooting that occurred within a like 1 to 2 week time frame before the event, all the advertisement would get pulled, just gone, disappear. They wouldn't promote Call of Duty, even if we're playing a futuristic. You're in fucking the year 2300. You know what I mean? Like all the advertisement would get pulled, and I think that was probably, when was this? Like 2016, 17. I feel like that was sort of a dark time for both the gun community. Like, when was it the worst, do you guys think, in terms of like, firearm rights?
A lot of people will say it was under Obama, but if you ask anybody that worked in the industry, the Obama boom was great, because everybody is so afraid of something happening that they're just buying shit all the time. And then the Trump slump happens where nobody's buying firearms because nobody's worried. But when it comes to the worst, man, that's a question, because I've only been involved in the firearms community since like 2016, 2017. I mean, I've always been into guns.
Same.
Yeah, I've always been into guns, but I never really even knew it kind of like existed in the capacity that it does. Nathan, you've kind of been around a little bit longer. You got any insight to that?
Not really. I mean, everything seems to come and go in trends. And ultimately during the Obama years, not really much happened. It was a lot of like bloviation about, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. But gun rights, by and large, didn't really change.
Yeah. Ironically.
Well, I guess the fear.
Yeah.
Is what I'm asking. Like, when was the fear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When was the fear the worst?
I would say fear buying in general. The last 2 years with COVID, the combination,
COVID, 2020 riots,
the election cycle, that was probably the most fear within the community of losing rights, losing guns, but also purchasing, and not just people that were already in the community that were purchasing. I mean, there have been more. There have been more new firearm owners in the last 2 years.
Well, dude, the amount of gamers who came to me was like over 150.
That's so great to hear.
Like, that's so like, and I'm talking like pro players, like, or like fucking, in full-time streamer, like entertainers and shit. Yeah. They're like, what should I get? What do I need to get? They're like, these aren't like, dude, if I kept my like DMs open and all this shit, like the amount of like, I probably would have got like over 3,000 people asking me, just supporters, fans, all this and that. Like, and that was, I was, you know what? I'll say this. I was so happy that I had night vision given that circumstance. I was like, dude, this is going to be useful if it ever has to, like, if it comes down to it,
Yeah, it was a scary time for a lot of people. I'm happy that people came to you for guns. I'm not happy that they came under the circumstances of fear. That's never a good thing. And I want to be really clear with that. But I'm happy that more
100%.
More people have gotten into it, and more people have people like yourself to come to now in other communities, because it can be intimidating. Guns can be very intimidating to folks. So when there is somebody like yourself that's a peer to these people, that isn't, Macho Man, Bro Vet, Randy Savage, fucking, that might be intimidating to go talk to. You're a peer of them. Maybe you're a friend. Maybe they just kind of heard of you before and they know that they can reach out to you and talk to you comfortably about it. That is so nice to hear that that's happening over in other industries, as opposed to just kind of the gun one. And you're knowledgeable, which is also great, that you're not just going to be like, buy this cheap piece of shit Olight and throw it on an Anderson, whatever the fuck.
No, I literally immediately tell people, like, probably, like, in my eyes, which I'm always watching, YouTube videos, doing research, looking at reviews, like all this shit. Like, it's buy the expensive thing once rather than the cheap thing like twice or 3 times or fucking 4 times, right?
Buy once, cry once.
Yeah. But something crazy, man. Whenever I go shoot with like other gamers, pro players, this and that, right? I always just say, all right, keep the muzzle down range, right? I want you to figure out how to fire this, right? And it's actually fucking insane, because most of the players and most of the people, like, these are Call of Duty people, right? They all know how to fucking, like, just from remembering the animations from within the games and stuff, they know how to fucking use it, right? And the crazy part is understanding, like, what will make a weapon not fire. You know what I mean? Where is the fucking safety on this? What, like, I got a chamber around, dude, this and that. Like, if you fucking pay attention on a lot of these Call of Duties, it will literally show you exactly how to do it. And it's like people view that as like a bad thing. Yeah. That they know how to operate, how to like make a gun shoot or make it not shoot. Like, that is a fucking good thing. That's knowledge. Yep. You know what I mean?
It's safe.
And that I'm going to tell this story that I had when I was a kid. We were having a giant airsoft war. I just bought a Tokyo Mari MP5 from fucking Japan, right? No red tip on this thing, full auto. I'm going 1 versus 7 across the street, and cop rolls up, gathers all of us. I'm still hiding in the bush, and I'm just thinking, like, I can't, I just got this thing for my birthday. Like, she's gonna confiscate this. It literally looks like a fucking MP5. And anyways, I'm hiding there. 5 minutes go by, and all I hear is a loud fucking bang. Like I'd never heard, I've only heard gunshots with a, ear pro on at the range and stuff. Never one without ear pro on. And what ended up happening was she rang the doorbell with like 6 kids around her. Parents came to the door. They showed she pulled out it was like a Glock 17 or something. I'm gonna guess, but it was a Glock. And my brother or someone had a Glock as well. She was like, see the difference? The only difference was the red tip. And this is what she did. She, like, she's obviously carrying with one in the chamber. She pulls the slide back, ejects around, puts a new one in the chamber, pulls out the mag, points it at the ground, and pulls the trigger. And this impacted like 6 inches away from one of my friends or my brother's like foot. And literally right in front of my parents too. And pretty much she reported herself. Yeah. And she got like, I think like 2 months without pay or something. It was 6 weeks without pay. It was pretty severe, but obviously it could have been a lot fucking worse. And
that's just so fucking stupid.
And the craziest thing to me is, if I give a pro player, a Call of Duty pro player, put him in the same exact situation, he would know what to do better than that cop did right there. And that's fucking insane. That is why, like, when people ask me, like, why do you have so many guns? I give them that example right there. Yeah, like, at the end of the day, like, it is fucking terrifying to trust your life. And it's like, I'm a pro player. Like, I'm fat as shit. You know what I mean? I can't, like, if someone like got in a street fight with me, I would just run. I would literally just run the other way. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. But like, in order to protect my life and my wife's and everything that I care about, like, I would not trust like someone, you know, like, I'm not saying all cops are like this. They're obviously not. There's probably this, you know, barely 1% of them are like that. But if there is 1% of them like that, like, I would not I'm not doing that, you know?
Yeah. I can tell you it is definitely more than 1%. And even
a lot more than 1%.
Oh, no, it's definitely more than 1%. Yeah. I just didn't want to piss anyone off.
Oh, yeah. You are. Don't worry. We'll do it for you if you don't want to. I'm in the Army. I'm an infantry dude. I was airborne infantry for a bit, and I can tell you that even at that level, there is incompetence at every level that I have seen. Be it a ranger, not so much the Green Berets. They don't really fuck around too much, but I'm sure there is negligence within that community too. It's just a much smaller community, but there is negligence everywhere, and the people that you think are like the most trained, highly skilled dudes.
Yeah,
it's not that reality. And I'm glad you brought up, you know, why you have firearms. It's like we talked about earlier, there is the fun aspect, and we should never lose that fun aspect. There is a very serious aspect as well, where, and especially somebody as yourself who makes a lot of money doing a lot of things, people might, you know, be like, oh, well, I'm going to get a little froggy and find out where this guy lives. And then I know he's got a lot of shit. I'm going to go take this shit.
Yeah.
And you got a wife. Do you have a kid?
No, I don't.
Okay. Either way, you got a wife, you got yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have a wife and it was just you got yourself. And people are fucking weird, and they will do shit. And it's better to rely on yourself than it is to rely on others.
And the Claymore that I've secretly placed as well. Yeah. But no, it's, and I don't know. It's like whenever, you know, because there's people in my space that don't like firearms, yet they play first person shooters like religiously. And it's like, I'm just sitting there like, how the fuck does that make sense? First of all. And then like they're like anti-gun and stuff. And then I tell them that, you know, that story, that situation. And I pretty much tell them like, is it, how many rounds a year does a cop have to shoot like at the range to qualify?
Oh,
to,
it's not many.
I think
I heard it was 50.
I can tell you in the Army,
it depends probably on state to state.
Yeah, it probably depends state to state, department to department. I can tell you Army wide, you only have to qualify once every 6 months. And that's on
you qualify more in the Army than you do as a cop.
Yeah. You do it once every 6 months.
Yeah. But I pretty much tell them that the airsoft story, right? And their argument just goes out the fucking window.
Yeah. The way that I usually try and break it down to folks, it's should we what's it called? Well, now I'm just going to sound like a fucking retard because I just forgot. Should you punish people for simply owning something?
Yeah.
And if the argument is that whatever they own could be used for a crime, then the whole point of innocent until proven guilty goes out the window, and now it's guilty because you own something. And I think that is a very dangerous precedent to set. It's, you know, it's all about the precedents, and a lot of these laws and a lot of these restrictions set a very dangerous precedence, I think. Not to get too political.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
I probably heard it from somebody.
That actually gets you thinking. You're like, because you said that, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, if I had a fucking nuclear weapon, but I didn't use it, it just sat there until the day I died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is like, like it just gets you thinking, right? What's the difference between that and a fucking empty box at that point? Well, I guess afterwards and shit, but whatever. Yeah. But the whole point is like, if you own something, you don't fucking use it. You don't do anything with it. Like it's a good point. And it's a good point.
It's very different when you're talking about like intent, Yeah. If you own something.
Yeah, intent. Yeah. And that's a whole difference.
Very different, but simply owning an object. Let's say I wanted to own a 249.
Yeah.
And I just wanted one, just like I wanted any other gun because I like shooting guns. But I didn't go through.
I want a fucking 249. I want a 249 so bad.
Yeah. I didn't go through the hoops and ladders to get one. I just went out and purchased one. Should I be punished because I didn't go through the hoops and ladders of just owning something? Maybe it's just a paperweight at my house. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't need to give you a reason for owning something. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, man, you could buy the 249, throw it up on your wall, and then you could put it could literally be anything, but it's just like, if you don't have intent, say you have zero intent, right? Mm-hmm. And then you frame that like, should it be illegal for just to own something? Right. Like, intent is the major factor, the difference with that. And it's like, what's the difference between a 249 or a fucking wallpaper? Like, if you're just going to stick it on your wall for the rest of your life, like there's no difference.
Oh, well, what if you use it for bad things? Oh, well, like, oh, you can kill people with cars, but guns make it so much easier. Oh,
yeah. And it was actually, the whole thing in Nice.
Yes.
France. I was there like, I think a year before that happened.
Yeah.
Fucking like, it's such a random, well, it's not really random city for France, but it's like, you say that city in anywhere in the United States, everyone has no fucking idea what that place is, where that is. Randomly, I was there. So I saw that and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I saw all the streets and all the, because it was on the beach walk, right? The street near the beach, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there like, I was literally there at that bench in front of that store.
Yeah.
Like a fucking year ago.
It's scary because bad things happen all the time regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as justification, for anything. I'm just saying bad things will happen no matter what. And I rather depend on myself to protect myself and my family in that bad situation, as opposed to rely on somebody who is going to show up 15 minutes after the fact that it's over.
Yeah. Yep. If that. The one time I've had to call police because of a violent person, basically a misunderstanding and a case of mistaken identity. God, I've never really talked about this on the show, have I?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, so I had a situation a little while ago, a couple of years. The receptionist at my doctor's office borrowed something, I didn't know her at all. God, I can't even remember her name now, nor could I put a face to her. But, we talked and we were friendly, and she borrowed a costume or like some piece of costume for her son for Halloween. And I stopped going to that doctor's office. He retired or something. And months later, I get a message from her saying, hey, I'm sorry. I know this is a little unprofessional, but hey, I borrowed this Captain America shield that you had on your wall for my son. I looked your number up in the database. I know it's kind of shitty and weird, but sorry, I couldn't find another way to get a hold of you, and I lost your number. Can I drop it off and return it? And I said, yeah, here's my address. Cool. Yeah, no, it's super roundabout.
Yeah.
And so she drops it off.
You had her number saved though?
No, I didn't have her number saved. I got this text out.
Oh, that would freak me the fuck.
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
I have your son's Captain America shield, and
somehow when it come up,
drop it back off. I'd be like, yeah, come back the fuck over right now. Yeah. I want to find out who the fuck you are, why you are with my son right now, or whatever.
Yeah, no, she sent me the
shit out of me.
Yeah, no, somehow she found out that I had it through just like doctor's office conversation, like small talk while no one else is in the waiting room, and asked if she could borrow it. I brought it in one day when I had a checkup and forgot about it. And months later, she offered to drop it off. So she dropped it off. And okay, thank you. Appreciate it. She leaves. Whole interaction is 30 seconds. Figure I'll never see her again because I'd no longer go to that doctor's office. Months. No, not months later, like days later, I start getting weird messages from her phone. And they're all misspelled. They're all weird, just like, oh, hey, baby. Like, oh, like we had a real good night the other day. Yeah, it was good to, see your dick and do wonderful things with it. Just weird messages. I told you, man, this story fucking escalates. So that's why there's just a weird lead up. And at this point, and again, I can't stress enough, I don't know this fucking lady past pleasant fucking conversations in a doctor's office. I'm wondering, like, hey, is she okay? Did she just like overdose on something strange? Did she, trip over her shoes and fall into a pile of Xanax? Or
nah, that shit's shrooms for sure.
Yeah.
That shit is Canadian. Wait, you're Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, every Canadian I've ever met, the shrooms.
Oh yeah, shrooms. Everyone has a shroom story. But yeah, so I call because this person sounds like they're tripping the fuck out, and a man picks up, and he starts, like, I know who you are. You're fucking my girlfriend, so and so.
Jesus Christ!
Like, I have your address. Because I texted her the address, he reads it back to me. It's like, I'm coming to your place. I'm going to kill you. I have a shotgun. He makes a point of like loading it so I can hear it. Like, I got some boys. We're going to drag you down the fucking highway. Like, we're going to fucking kill you. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Canadians are all friendly, man.
Yeah, no. Oh, man. No. Not even a little. And I'm just like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, all right, well, this sucks. I'm going to call the police, I guess, because and this is years ago. I didn't know my head from my ass at this point. I call the police and I say, hey, I guess there's been a case of mistaken identity or something, but this man says he's on his way to kill me with a shotgun, and he made the point of loading the shotgun over the phone, and I don't know who he is, but do you mind sending someone over? 45 minutes later, a single squad car rolls up with one dude.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes in, he takes a statement, and he's like, oh, well, okay. Well, we'll figure out what to do about this. The guy never came. And to this one bored-looking officer's credit, he called me later, and apparently the girlfriend actually was cheating, and there was a case of mistaken identity there. Not to justify that entire situation, but
oh my God.
He debriefed me on the whole thing. He went there, and no charges were laid, no one got arrested, no one's guns were taken away, whatever. I don't really care or have any opinions on the whole thing, other than I called the police.
It took 45 minutes.
Yeah, and told them that there was a man who was, by his own admission, on his way to kill me. And they took 45 minutes to send a single squad car with a single guy over. I live a walking distance away from the police station.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So no, your safety is your responsibility, and police will never be there when you want them to. That was one of the days where I realized, like, holy fuck. Like, if anything actually ever happened, what if it wasn't me? And what if I was a 20-year-old girl, and the person who came to kill me actually really did want to, instead of just bloviating?
Yeah. 45 minutes.
45 fucking minutes.
45 fucking minutes.
I am kind of curious though, before we wrap it up, being where you are in the position that you're in, I can only imagine that you get people that message you only because they want something from you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any really fucking weird experiences with that?
Well, are you saying like they want, like, what do you mean by they want something? Because
like for example, with us, I can tell when somebody's messaging us and they just want maybe like a shout out, or they want, to be featured on the page in a way that turns into essentially a free shout out for them. I'm sure you get that probably more often than we do.
I think it's because of like who I am, or like how I like handle like my teams and how I like just go about my daily life. But people in the gaming community find, like, I don't know if I'm just fucking terrifying to them or if everyone thinks I'm a fucking asshole, or like, I usually don't get those requests or messages like that. If a buddy's coming to me, like he needs help, right? Like last year I had one of my old buddies from way back, like 2008, way back. His teammate had a fucking broken computer, or his computer blue screen like completely crashed. Anyways, I dropped off like one of my, like, we have a streaming computer and a gaming computer, so they're both like high end shit, and just gave him my computer for the weekend. But in terms of stuff like that, it's funny to me because I think the gaming community is like definitely a little bit like intimidated or like scared of me. But dude, I'm just like, I'm sitting here in the gun community. I'm like, these people are my fucking people. Like, and where I would probably be more normal within the gun community, the gun space, right? In the video game space, they view me completely differently. And by the way, I must say that everyone in the fucking gun community is hilarious as shit compared to anyone in esports, man. It's literally like night and day. Like, people think like in the last year, like anything I say now is fucking hilarious to these guys, right? And I'm just sitting there like, man, I've just been hanging out with, people who shoot guns all day, like in the off season stuff. Like, I'm just picking up on their like lingo or, the way they talk about things, just, basically just hanging out with them. And everyone's just boring in the esports space because, like I said, every day just fucking roast the shit out of each other until the sun goes down, or no, I should say roast the shit out of each other until the sun comes up. Yeah, but I actually don't, the only request I'll get is to do, like shows or like interviews and all this stuff like that, or people don't really hit me up for those sort of things. That's like you would go to teams for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean individuals as well, but I have a thing where I was asked, like, who's your favorite teammate you've ever had, or who's your favorite ex-teammate right now? Right?
That's a dangerous question.
Well, I haven't had a lot. I've barely been on any teams my whole career to sort of value like loyalty and just get better with the team that you got. Right. But I pretty much answered with like, what do you mean? Like, if they're not on my team right now, I fucking hate them. Like, I hate everybody. I'm like, everyone is my enemy right now, except for my teammates. Like, my teammates are like, it's us versus the world type shit. And I think that's why people don't reach out to me all that often. So
it's not a bad,
but I'm fucking cool with it. So I'd rather have them stay in their own lane, stay in my lane, Yeah,
I think one of the benefits of the gun community, for the most part, people do not take themselves too seriously. Like, it's you'll never have somebody that's 100%. Too good to do anything for anyone. If somebody is just being genuine and wants help or wants to ask. And I think that is one of the more wholesome aspects of it. I could just be assuming. I feel the reason I asked, because I felt like people might look at you who might be, kind of like starting out a stream or starting out into pro gaming or. Yeah.
Well, they'll come to me for advice all the time.
Okay.
For advice. Yeah. But not for like requests.
Okay. So nobody will be like, hey, can I play with you on stream so that it like boosts my viewership or something?
Oh, well, no, no one really does that.
That's surprising, but nice to hear.
Yeah. I don't really have to deal with that much, but when people come to me and, what monitor, what controller, what do you have in, what's this part in your PC? What's your lighting? Like, there'll be bullshit like, how high is your fucking monitor off your desk? How far are you from the screen? Like, just a whole bunch of random stuff like that. but not so much like let me play with you type shit. So.
Well, that's really good to hear. When you mentioned like how far away from the screen you are and shit like that.
Yeah.
I always get it whenever I mention pickle juice for like doing some like long distance movements or activities. I get these weird fucking DMs are like, how much pickle juice? What's the ratio between water and pickle juice that you use? What brand of pickle juice? So it's funny. It's funny hearing that people kind of do the same thing with gaming.
Yeah.
And I think that's hilarious. Yeah. But no, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. It's really intriguing how the gun community and the gaming community is starting to cross paths. Yeah. It is.
I think it's the biggest and best. I hate to say like recruiting base, like it's some weird fucking paramilitary organization, but it is the best avenue of people getting into this kind of like
new people,
two-way advocacy, tactical shooting, all of that stuff.
Yeah. No, it's definitely been a weird couple of years. I would say that we talked about it before, right? I think that like, the whole COVID scare, right? If you weren't playing video games went from like, if you gamed a whole bunch, that shit, you kept that shit a secret. Like, well, I'm assuming like, normal people, like you know what I mean? Like, they would keep that a little bit low key, and COVID hits, everyone all of a sudden is playing fucking Warzone.
Yeah.
I went from like, I follow F1 a lot, and, one day I'm in a fucking lobby with Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, and we're fucking racing go-karts on one of the go-kart part of the Verdansk, and without COVID, like that wouldn't have happened. Like COVID happened and everyone just fucking hopped on Warzone. Everyone played Warzone,
Yeah.
And the biggest culture shift is like, for me especially, is I'm noticing like everyone, plays video games all of a sudden.
Yep.
It's crazy. So
it's cool seeing like, people that are in the gun community now going to video games, because I think everybody is starting to realize how beneficial it can be for the whole culture for both to kind of, play with each other a little bit.
Yeah.
It's super interesting to me, and I'm glad that it's happening. And I'm glad that there are people not just on one side, but on both sides kind of branching and getting into it, even if it's just as a hobby, if it's, that's the beautiful thing about it. You don't have to be fucking super bro vet, or I said that earlier, but you don't have to be like super, like that is your whole personality. You can just have it as a hobby, and that in and of itself is incredibly valuable and incredibly nice to see. And I think it's incredibly important, and I'm glad that you're a part of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, guys. It was definitely one of the more entertaining topics or just podcasts I could do, because we talked about a lot of shit that I've been just saying on, I'll just be solo on stream, just talking about, my whole fucking COVID camel conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Like I would never say that in a fucking gaming interview or anything like that, unless, or even other people involved. I just always talk about it like by myself. So it's cool to talk about this stuff, guys.
Well, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. Eventually we'll convince you to come be a gun guy that plays video games as opposed to a
the final note, man, is like, after I'm done competing, people always like, because people always request and ask for it. They're like, why don't you do more gun videos? Why don't you do more, car videos and all this stuff? So I think I'm going to actually probably create a couple, like a dedicated car YouTube and a dedicated like gun shooting YouTube. So but apparently, well, YouTube's hitting everyone right now, so fuck, we might have to do it somewhere else. But the monetization, man, the crazy shit. You guys think the gun stuff is pretty bad, but man, I'm sitting there like, welcome to the club, because about 5-6 years ago, right when they started like demonetizing rated M games, and like the revenue went from 100% to 25%, like overnight. And I'm like, fuck this. But anyways, Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, just let me know when you guys want to do another one, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm down.
With that being said, part of our deal with one of our sponsors, all of our guests get a free belt, so they'll probably reach out and send that over to you.
Yeah,
nice.
The AWS belts are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's kind of our ad read AWS. Great belts. I've been running their belts literally for years. Before we even had anything on Instagram, I used their stuff, and it's kind of fucking cool that they're one of the sponsors of the show now. And then our new sponsor, Midwest Armor.
Yes.
They also make plate carriers like AWS does.
They do.
And
the
really
Leap carrier is super nice.
Yeah. Go ahead, check them out. New sponsors, really cool people. Yeah. Thanks for listening, Crim. Once again, we didn't let you shout yourself out. So if you want to, people probably talk about yourself.
Yeah. Honestly, name my tags. This is weird. I've never really done this because I've usually just kind of fucking mic dropped whatever podcast interview I'm doing, but you guys probably actually have no fucking idea. Yeah, exactly. You guys probably have no fucking idea who I am. You can find me on Instagram at Ian CrimSix, and that's CrimSix. Twitter is just CrimSix. YouTube is just CrimSix. What else do I have? My YouTube's dead though. Just don't even go there. And twitch.tv/CrimSix. I'm pretty much there all the time. So
don't sound too enthused about promoting yourself.
Well, okay. Well, the gun shit is going to be on Instagram. So just go to Instagram for the gun stuff. Yeah, for now, they aren't aware yet. They aren't aware of my habits. So it's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. They get everyone eventually. Yeah. Well, fucking Garen Thumb came back and Lucas came back, so that's good.
Yeah.
You'll be
eventually.
All right.
We'll go to Twitch though.
Ooh. Yeah, that's how you got to do it. That's how you bring in the new people.
Yep, right there. I'll see you guys when you all convert.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate everybody listening. Okay, bye.